Thanks, Matt. 4:30, the meeting will come to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
Commissioner Bunting.
Here.
Commissioner Gay.
So microphone has changed to echo canceling or echo canceling. Speakerphone. Logi Rally. I'll be used.
Imagine man will hit a button when he gets back there.
George, we get you to say the invocation?
Well, bow your heads, please. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the blessings of today. We ask, Father, that you continue to watch over our men and women overseas, our soldiers, and at home. We ask that you'd watch over our first responders and give them safety. We want to thank you, Father, for the rain that you've given to us. But as your poor people, we always grudge and complain. Father, we could use a little more. Not too much more, but a little more. We ask that you be with us tonight through these deliberations. For it's in his name we pray.
Amen. Join us for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't think we have any additions to the agenda.
The agenda support.
Moved by George, supported by Tim to approve the agenda. Anybody have a conflict of interest that they want to declare? Okay. Public comment on agenda items. Moving on to consideration of the consent calendar.
The consent calendar.
Or by George, supported by Tim to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Right on down to the administrator's report.
Okay, first, it's your next meeting, August 18th. We've been, well, just say on August 18th at 3 o'clock, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority will be meeting in this room to go over a Pine River Township housing proposal. At 3:30, Greater Gratiot has invited the board, if you would be interested, to come here for a brief review of that project. And the reason for that is there is a TIF component to it. Now, what TIF is tax capture. There is quite a report that's already been put together that they would like to review with you in a work setting, not a meeting where you'd be voting on anything, but just to show you what the plans are and what some of these moving parts are all about. For instance, on the tax capture, there's a component to this that would lay out for, I believe it's a 30-year period, a certain portion of county operating tax and some of the special millage tax that they're proposing to capture. This is something I want your eyes wide open about as this project moves forward, because there is typically in the TIF statutes opportunity to opt in or out of those captures. But you'll want to hear from the consultant on this so that you know exactly what those captured dollars would go for. You'll get to look at the plan itself, the layout of it. It's up in Pine River Township, the number of homes that are involved. But it will give you the opportunity to be more educated on that process and on that project before you're asked to do anything about it. So that'll be at 3:30 on the 18th. At the regular meeting on the 18th, I swear that Todd and I will get together to have our meeting about the budget, because we need to present the draft budget to you at that meeting. And that gets you about a 6-week window here to review it, and before you have to make a decision in September, the 2027 budget. So 3:30 work session, and then 4:30 regular meeting to just conduct normal business. Now, a couple of other things to share with you. This week we had a meeting with Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority, or MMRMA. There are risk control insurance they come in here each year for renewal, and we look through the renewal documents. Yes, some of there are some increases involved there, but they're within what you would expect with inflation and things that are going on with the economy. While our experience with having to use our retention fund over the last 3 years has grown a little bit, we will need to replenish that. That'll be part of the budget. But more importantly, in talking with our representative, we are going to schedule a walkthrough of all of our buildings with their risk control experts at MMRMA, who will identify things that we could do to make the facility safer. For instance, you see an awful lot of cords down from these monitors, and probably not the safest way to go about having these in here. So they'll be giving us some suggestions and ideas on how to make things like that safer, eliminating trip and fall, those types of accidents. If there's anything major that they note in the building, they'll notice those too. Now, they're walking through the buildings and making suggestions. They cannot mandate that we do anything. But as you might imagine, if they point something out, we don't do anything, and something happens, that won't necessarily bode well for us in the end. So they'll probably see things that we don't see because we're here every day. We just avoid whatever the hazard might be. But to somebody visiting the building for the first time, it might be something very much worth us paying attention to early on. So that'll happen probably in the next few months. The other component to that is MMRMA offers what they call RAP grants. I forget what their acronym stands for, RAP. But if there are projects like that that are going to cost a few dollars, that they may fund those projects. They do issue an awful lot of RAP grants every year to their clientele. So I would look forward to them helping with any expense we might see to repair some of these things. Okay, just two other items for sure now. Next to the last item, we just had a meeting this afternoon with our Health Insurance Advisory Committee. Something that Sheila and I have been working on, I think pretty much since the first of the year, was really tearing apart the health insurance plan that we have for the county, looking at all the moving parts and trying to improve on that. I think we found some improvement. I'm not prepared to tell you a whole lot about that tonight, other than that we have initiated the process with our committee. We have some follow-up work to do there. But by the 18th, I expect to have something in front of you with a proposal on health insurance, and very timely because we're talking about the budget anyway that night. So it'll all kind of wrap into one nice package of conversation. Now, the last thing, bear with me, that we have to talk about, we got to follow up on a July 22nd meeting that a few of us attended with the Honey Oak Creek LLC. This is the company that's proposing to put 1,000 acres worth of solar panels up in Seville and Sumner townships. This is going to be quite the experience for us working through the new state statute. Now, bear with me as I walk through this, because that meeting happened on July 22nd. That started a clock ticking on some things that we have to do as a county, because we are the affected local unit of government that has the zoning jurisdiction in one of those areas. So we had that meeting. Right after that meeting, according to the statute, within 30 days, and that would be by August 21st, the chief elected official from the county, in our case, the board chair, must notify Honey Oak whether or not the county has what's called a compatible renewable energy ordinance. They use the acronym CREO in the statute for this. Now, what that means is we have to look at in our case, our zoning ordinance, and determine whether the requirements of our zoning ordinance are compatible with what the state statute says we have to have. We are not compatible if our requirements are more restrictive than what the state statute has. Honey Oak presented to us 6 instances where the county zoning ordinance was more restrictive than what the state requires. So frankly, the answer to the question is pretty simple. No, we are not compatible. But what does that mean? Well, the statute, as I said, there's one section that outlines what exactly they require. If we're not compatible, that does not remove us automatically from all conversation. It does mean the citing criteria of the state will likely be what will apply. But Honeyoke was very clear to us in that meeting on July 22nd that they wanted to work with the county and work with the townships in this case. I would fully expect we take them up on that offer. There is a process already in place locally with our zoning ordinances for amending those ordinances that would compel hearings where the public would be invited to come in and offer their comments. But maybe even more importantly is that we compare the project itself to the components of our master plan and our zoning ordinance. The zoning ordinance is pretty cut and dry. Setbacks are this, height requirements are that, and so on. The plan, though, has a component in there that talks about agriculture, and that's a pretty big conversation, as you might imagine, in the master plan. In the statute, which is called it's like the Renewable Energy Statute. Now, I'm not seeing the name of it. Well, if I find it, I'll come back to that. But the statute itself tells the Michigan Public Service Commission that when you have a project in front of you, you need to consider these factors. One of those factors concerns avoidance of areas that are classified as prime agricultural land. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you if that's prime agricultural land in that 1,000-acre area or not, but there's an awful lot of prime agricultural land in this county, and there's a pretty good chance that this might fall into that category. There are a couple of resources that we turn to analyze this. One is the type of crop that's growing on that property, but a more permanent indication will be the soil survey for the county that's put out by the Soil Conservation Service. And there they identify exactly where the prime soils are. And that is a traditional component of a planning commission, a component of consideration, as well as all the other components in the plan itself. So, that would be our opportunity traditionally to review and make suggestions to the developer if they want approval, what to do to avoid prime lands, how to meet the setback requirements, and so on. But because we're not a compatible renewable energy ordinance in this case, the developer does have the opportunity of saying, we will deal only with the Michigan Public Service Commission. We will not deal with you locally because your restrictions are more restrictive than what the state requires. All well and good, but bottom line is the board chair has got to make the decision as to whether or not we're compatible and sign the letter that goes to the developer that makes that determination. More on that in a second. What if we do this? We write the letter, say it's not compatible. What do we do? And what if the developer then goes to the state? It does not lock out the locals entirely. We will not have the final authority when it comes to any of the rules of the development, but there is a component to the statute that requires that the Public Service Commission under the Administrative Procedures Act of 1969 requires that anyone in our case that would be considered, terminology is all gone here, but would be considered I don't say an objection, but an interested party, for lack of another word, which we would be, then the state is required to offer a hearing to us, and in quotes, without undue delay under this Administrative Procedures Act, which means the Public Service Commission will still hear from us. We will still go through our review process, utilizing our Planning Commission and our evaluation, and put our issues on record with the Public Service Commission and strongly asking that they compile or approve, if they're going to approve the project, that they consider all of these components, whether it be setback, whether it be the prime ag land, whatever it might be. Now, that doesn't mean that the state is going to agree with us, but with the projects that are down there right now, they've not yet made a decision on any of them, so we have no track record to work from. But my point being is that when our letter is sent stating that we are not a compatible renewable energy ordinance, that's not necessarily the end of the line. Now, like I said, Honeyoke said they would like to work with us, and to the point that they've already identified where they feel these flaws are. I would certainly encourage us to encourage them to follow through on that commitment and have those meetings here locally. If in fact we do have to go down to the Public Service Commission and attend the hearing, the statute for the renewable energy projects requires that the developer provide an amount money to the local units who are impacted of not more than $75,000 each. In our case, there are 3 communities, so it'll be $50,000 each. To put together our presentation for the Public Service Commission's consideration. That's one good component that I can tell you in that statute, though. A lot of it's very confusing and doesn't really seem to work well for local governments, but it's very nice that this was put in there so that if we do end up having to go down there and make our concerns known, at least our general fund isn't impacted by that. And I'm not saying it's going to cost us tens of thousands of dollars to do this, but it's just nice to know that whatever those costs are, they would be covered by that statute. So my next question to the board is this. We have until, depending on whose math you use, either August 20th or August 21st to get this letter signed and sent to Honeyoke. Let them know what the determination is. August 18th is looking like a pretty full agenda right now, but that doesn't mean we can't handle it. I mean, we could be here as long as we want to be handling county business. We could also, if it was your desire to do so, we could do a special meeting, and I'm just going to throw out there Tuesday of next week because it's a Tuesday at a time when the board is available and have only this issue on the agenda to talk about. Now, I don't know that it's going to be that long of a meeting, but what it does do is, like, for instance, tonight, I mean, you could do this tonight, but it was not on the agenda. I think we need to be as transparent as we possibly can throughout this full process. So if we have a special meeting or put it on the regular meeting agenda, public is notified of it and can show and listen to the process, offer public comment at the meeting. And we have that one more thing that the public actually sees us doing. These things aren't happening behind closed doors. But that'd be my suggestion, one or the other, a special meeting, or put it on the August 18th meeting, which again, plenty of time. August 19th, we'll take the letter up, get the chairman's signature and send it on its way by the deadline. So then my question to you is just simply, do you want to do a special meeting or do you want to try to do it at the regular meeting?
I'd prefer a special meeting. Everyone, you know, my feelings about stuff being thrown on the agenda. This is huge. I guarantee all those people sitting out there that aren't sheriff and the undersheriff, and a couple of you that are here to speak to us about other matters that I know are on the agenda are here for that very reason. In my opinion, we owe it to them to make sure we take our time to do this right, talk about it. Give me an opportunity myself. I want to have an opportunity to talk further to you. You gave me a lot of information. I was trying to write little teeny notes, and I mean, I can read what I wrote, but I didn't by any stretch of the imagination cover all of that. And I believe there's probably more to this than what you were able to present to us as well, that I would like to be able to.
But you'd be impressed that I got that much on one page.
But I think, when you're dealing with very serious issues, the last meeting we had, this room was the fullest it's ever been since I've been a commissioner anyhow. And they were all here for the same reason they're here tonight. I think we need to do our due diligence. That's my personal opinion. I mean, but,
I'm for a special meeting also.
I am too. I'd like to see us do next Tuesday.
Would it be like next Tuesday, the 11th?
Frankly, it could be any day you want. And it just, to me, Tuesday is board day, in my mind. And
I have a daughter getting married at the end of that week. I'd really like to keep it towards the front. Tuesday would work. But after that, my world's gonna get.
You want to keep a Tuesday?
Tuesday would be good. Monday or Tuesday would be a much better than if you want to do Thursday or Friday.
Okay, I'm good with Tuesday, the 11th. What time?
I'm available all day, so.
Well,
I do it in the morning.
we want to make sure that people that work can come too, so we don't want it early in the day or anything like that. I would suggest 5 o'clock
4:30 at a regular time.
4:30.
or 4:30. I always get complaints, you start your meetings and can't be there. I just thought for a special meeting, let's make it 5 o'clock. That helps everybody that wants to be there, be there. Cause if
I'm good with that. I just want to make sure that we,
I
our due diligence.
going along with what you're saying, I just don't want to cut any people short by being at 4:30. I'd rather have it a little later.
That's fine. That's fine.
We can stay, we don't have a problem with that, and I think it's better and it's perceived better if we do that.
I agree 1,000%. So.
I do too.
And James can hold dinner until later. So
Yeah.
5 p.m.
For everybody else? Does that work for,
Yeah,
I'm sure if you're sitting here today, we'll probably be here next week. So. Okay.
Yeah, that'll also give me the opportunity at that meeting to tell you, at least according to statute, what happens even after this. So there is a mandatory, potentially meeting that would have to happen by September 12th. Peculiarity in this statute is that the developer holds that hearing, not any local unit of government. The developer holds the meeting. So that's an interesting twist on things. And that's another one where they'll have the opportunity then to present their plan to the community so people can see exactly what it is they're proposing and where they're proposing it. But there are a number of deadlines written within the statute. We can get into that in greater detail as well. Frankly, I think the question of whether we have a compatible renewable energy plan is not debatable. We don't. So, you know, that part is simple, but I think it's very important that everybody understand what that means, what's going to happen next, or what potentially could happen next. And we're all prepared for that. And if we do end up having to go to the Public Service Commission as an intervener is the word I was looking for, what does that mean? And we'll actually be able to have our attorney help with that conversation as well to discuss what that means. And it's a hearing. I mean, it's nothing to be afraid of, but it is a pretty formal process and will require at least a couple of us to go to Lansing to partake.
So this meeting is strictly to discuss whether or not we comply with the state, which we already know we don't. So what other discussion would be at that meeting?
So,
I mean, if that meeting is set up that, we got, that's a very narrow parameter. I mean, you could talk about this all night long.
Well, yeah, but I think there was information in there that you, a couple of different times, you said there was things in there that escaped you from, it wasn't in that information. I think that will give you that opportunity. Obviously, I guarantee I'll be talking to you about knowing what that information is long before that meeting happens, but it'll give you an opportunity to present to all of us again, all of that information that's, I agree with you, that's a very narrow thing.
Our scope is going to be narrow that night. We're not gonna go out there and blah, blah.
We're not gonna talk about any other business. This is what we're doing.
That's what we're there for. That's what we're to discuss.
This gives us an
Because I
opportunity.
don't, we're trained to go on different tracks. We're not at that point yet.
I agree.
We just gotta tell the state whether we're compliant or not, and we know we're not.
And understand all of the information that Tim was just presenting to us on timeline.
Yeah, timelines.
Yeah.
Yep.
We need to know, we need to know when we start that clock ticking, what's the next step? We're not, we know we're not compliant, but now what's the next step and how do we go about doing that in a methodical way,
Yeah.
right?
right,
So that's just.
meeting.
It's just, I want a whole bunch of people talking at once because it doesn't make any helpful.
Did you have one more item you were gonna?
I do not.
That was it.
I think-
I think that was his
The big one.
final at bat right there.
I do want to ask a question, about the, conference in Traverse City in September. I think you said something, Steve, that you wanted to be at that.
I got that on our commissioner committee report, so I was gonna bring that up, but
Oh,
you
well,
brought it up ahead of time.
yes, I definitely want to go. And Tim, do you want to go too? Usually you do.
I've got it right.
It's,
If you're going,
it's very, very educational to go to those.
wasn't able to go in the spring because they time it at a not so conducive for farming time of the year, but this one in September, I think will work out much, much better because
So Steve, how about you, Dave?
I'm not sure.
Okay, when do you have to know to,
You know, because it's a Grand Traverse Resort, the sooner the better, because those rooms tend to go fast.
yeah.
I'll
So,
be there for one day myself.
how about you, George?
go ahead.
No, I would choose the same thing.
Well, she asked, are you going? You're not gonna go.
And
Are you gonna have Becky register us like last year?
Right.
Please put me down for it. And it's the 10th, 11th, 12th, is that it?
Yes.
10th, 11th, and the 12th of September.
Double check that.
Yeah.
You said the 9th.
think I did. Yes, the 9th, 10th and 11th.
Okay.
It's not on Saturday.
It's not on Saturday, okay. 9th, 10th,
So that is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Wednesday, Thursday.
Friday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Friday night, it doesn't amount to much.
No, you're out of there.
Yeah, there might be.
Whatever.
Okay, moving on, George.
I have no report tonight. I've been taking life easy, so.
Good for you. Tim?
I would like to comment on the solar thing. I received a bunch of letters from Sumner. Every one of them was against this. Today, this guy, Eric Wadisky, called me. He's very aggressive about this solar farm. And I told him that just what I got through saying to you, I haven't, everybody seems to be against it. And he knows that. And then I asked him, do you care about public opinion and acceptance of his plan? And he said he does. So he knows this, so maybe he wants to change minds or something. I don't know. It's hard to get into somebody's mind. I think it's wrong to offer someone or some entity a lot of money just to do this. I think it's very wrong. That's probably how we got the wind turbines and the solar so far. As Tim said, we ranked fourth in the 83 counties in agricultural production. They say, oh, only 1% of the farmland. Well, that's 1,000. You say 1,000 acres. Even that, I think, would affect our standing. I mean, that's probably the greatest thing we have is agriculture. And, anyway, I made that clear to him. He'll probably meet here in September. I said that my constituents are concerned about the land value going down. And he contradicted me. He said, studies show no, it doesn't. And I asked him, why are you putting it over farmland? I guess, they've done this. And I didn't get an answer, Lee, I don't think, to that. I mean, of all the land, why do you put it over farmland? So anyway, I just wanted you aware that I talked to this guy via the telephone. And we might see him someday.
That's your report? Yeah.
See, that's on it. July 22nd, Health Department meeting was in Stanton. They adjusted the meeting early by half an hour by my request because at 10 o'clock, there was the IBV Energy meeting here at the courthouse, and I wanted to be in attendance. I'd been asked to be here, and I wanted to make sure I was here. So they started the meeting early. Obviously, we talked a lot about this whole lettuce and virus situation that's affecting our state. Part of what they explained why Michigan, kind of the numbers look especially skewed in Michigan, is Michigan is a state that actually tests for this, and we kind of grabbed the bull by the horns when it first started and started testing. Not all states are doing that. If people end up hospitalized or, severely sick, they're then being tested in other places. We tested, if you wanted to be tested for it, you suspected you had it, we tested. And that's why the numbers, so there's probably just as many, if not more people in many other states, they just haven't tested them, was what I got from that report. So, Other than that, it was a standard meeting. There were several board members that were gone, just due to, I think, the time of the year with vacations and what have you. I came back to the courthouse for that meeting, was here. Tim was here, Dave, you were here for a little while, but it was a Wednesday and you have a other obligation with Meals on Wheels, so you were here for a period of time. Some of you, maybe not. There was a few people who were at that meeting, were there as well. Anyhow, obviously, this is a huge thing in our county that I know why it concerns so many of you. July 27th, Fulton Township. Once again, they had their meeting was moved early by an hour because they had two meetings that night. Fulton Township General Meeting started at 6 p.m. At 7 p.m., they had a joint meeting with Washington Township due to the Popeye sewer. If you're familiar with Popeye, about a third of the town is in Washington Township, everything east of Washington or State Road, and everything west is in Fulton Township. They have the system there has had chronic issues for years, probably since the thing was originally put in. But now we have the two boards talking, probably like never has happened in the past. I would say it was a good meeting. It was nice to see everybody getting along and talking things through. And there was, I think, 3 people there from Popeye who were long-term residents. They did a study on sewer rates right now. I didn't realize this, but like public funds or township general funds aren't allowed to pay for sewer systems. So basically, if I own property in Washington Township, which I do, my tax dollars aren't supposed to pay for a system that I don't get to use because I don't have property in Popeye itself. So they needed to do something to get this so the thing is actually maintaining itself and it's not using other taxpayer money to pay for a system that people aren't using. So the study was done in the 25-26 calendar year. They recommend a 3% raise annually, and that's what they ended up approving. I think it was to take the rate to $200 a quarter and then raise it annually at a 3% increment. That was what the recommendation from the study was. And we're hoping that that will help offset some of these major expenses because it's during COVID, you guys had to replace it was a $29,000 pump, one of the lift station pumps. So anytime they have to do anything on it, it's very expensive. And when we're already operating under the water, that the pump has to get fixed. So the money came, Fulton, I believe, used part of your ARPA funds to pay for it. So anyhow, not a situation that any township should be faced with. So hopefully moving forward, that won't be a problem anymore. August 3rd, just yesterday, I was at Parenton meeting. And once again, Parenton and Fulton Township, I have a meeting coming up later this month, 18th to 17th of this month, where they are actually talking about a sewer board authority. If you read back into when the sewer system was originally installed from Parenton, and then Middleton came in and for Rainbow Lake, west side of Rainbow Lake, in the actual documents, it says that a sewer board authority shall be created. History, nobody can find where that was ever done. So Bob with the Fulton Township and Janelle with the Village of Parenton are working together with their boards, and they're going to have a special meeting to discuss how they can move forward with such a thing. So last night's meeting was quite lengthy, talking a lot about the sewer authority. And also, I believe today was the last day for anyone who in Gratiot County or anywhere in the state of Michigan sustained damage from the storms this spring, either flooding or from the tornadoes and winds. FEMA had set up a location in Fulton Township in Parenton. And today, I believe at 5 o'clock, they are that office was being closed down. They had serviced 40 some people and I've heard two different figures, like 229,000. I've heard $280,000 that was awarded to people for repairs to their homes and things. So you're not done. If you didn't get there, you can still file. You just have to do it at another location or online with the federal government. I was sent this from the NRCS. I sit on the conservation board. I know that there's several people in this county who agree with me that we are way overpopulated with white-tailed deer. They're basically not a game animal anymore. They're a rodent. And they destroy millions of dollars of farm crops every year. So the NRCS has put together a Gratiot County Deer Donation Drive that will be August 15th through the 24th. So if you are a farmer with a deer damage permit, join us in helping feed the hungry. Donate your deer to our deer donation drive. Deer must be completely field dressed and harvest reported before being donated. Contact the Gratiot Conservation District for more details about drop-off locations. You must live within Gratiot County. So Dylan is the person at the conservation office who is heading this up. And the phone number there is easily found. So I've sent this on. I've sent it to 50 different farmers that I know of today, plus businesses that only deal in agribusiness, trying to get the word out. I hope they have to bring 10 reefer trailers in and fill them all, because we have way too many deer in this county. So please contact Dylan if you're interested in donating at the Gratiot Conservation District. That concludes my, I talked about the MAC conference, so yep, I'm done.
Jan?
Okay, I had one meeting, it was at Elma City Hall. And they talked about the new water park. It's gonna be right behind mental health. You know where the mental health is on, that what?
Right.
Red Avenue. And then also it's the reason I picked there is because of the bathrooms. And also in front of it is the Catholic, I believe the Catholic school. And so it's a real safe place, have a bathroom. It's right there in town, easy to walk to and walk back home. And so that was one of the biggest issues. And then the other issue was, can't remember what it was now. Oh, I know the transportation. They were a little disappointed that we did not okay the transportation. And I told them mostly, there's a lot of people that when you look at Gratiot County and you look at 57 to 46, that seems to be where the most people are. And then when you get from 57 on over, that is really way out in the country. And I told them there's a lot of people who feel it's unfair to take and have to pay another millage for people that live closer to town, such as Ithaca, St. Louis, Breckenridge. And so one of the things I suggested to them was this still doesn't have to be over with, that they could still go to Breckenridge, Wheeler Township. Another one was Bethany Township. These people live right on 46. And anybody that lives on 46, it makes it a little bit easier because there's a lot heavier population, I guess that's what I want to say. And so we talked about it. They let me know they were disappointed. And I think too, we're in times right now that people are trying to, get caught up a little bit. There is a lot of millages out there. And I think they're high. Every year, our governor raises the taxes on our homes and our property. So hopefully, that somewhere along the line, next 4 or 5 years, that starts coming back down again. So other than that, that was the only meeting I had since the last meeting here. And if there's any questions, please ask me and I'll be glad to answer them.
Oh, well, I was like George. I had company during the last couple of weeks, so I didn't attend any meetings, though. Last week I did go to the Gratiot Community Foundation Scholarship, and this county is really blessed with the talent of the young people coming along, and that's a good thing. And another thing that doesn't have anything to do with the county, last Saturday, I drove down and drove across the Gordie Howe Bridge. Very impressive.
What bridges?
Gordie Howe,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I didn't even know about it.
you have the new one. They just built it from connects Detroit to Windsor.
and I got turned around and I ended up coming back on the Ambassador Bridge, so.
Only got a one-way ticket, huh?
Yeah. Oh, that's all I have, so. Okay. Consideration to approve resolution 26-445 to amend MGT Impact Solution Services, Jennifer Wood.
Bidders here tonight. The first one being the request to amend the MGT solution, Impact Solutions agreement that we have. MGT, if you recall, provides monitoring of our Title 4D contract for front of the court that allows the county to get reimbursed at 66% for any eligible costs. And so what I provided the sheet that MGT provided to show all of the breakdown of the costs. Essentially, I can make it very simple. They want to turn the timesheets electronic, and overall it will cost us $527.70. And so I'm asking for permission to approve that and amend the contract tonight.
I so move that we approve resolution number 26-445 to amend the MGT Impact Solutions Master Service Agreement.
I'll second it.
Okay. Moved by Steve, supported by Jan to approve resolution 26-445 to amend MGT Impact Solutions. All those in favor, say aye. There should be a roll call.
Commissioner Sapsy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner Bunting,
Yes.
Commissioner Gay,
Yes.
Commissioner Owens.
Yes. Motion carried.
I have one more next on the agenda. Need to call it, or do you want me to just go ahead?
Go ahead.
So I'm also here then to ask for approval of the annual childcare fund budget. That's something, if you recall, that we come back every year to have you approve in order to get reimbursed for the county for any childcare fund services that we provide. That happens at a rate of 75% for most of the costs and then 50% for out-of-home placements. And so I have attached the budget for you to review. It includes 3 contracts: the Next Step Counseling Service Contract, the Burgess Psychological Services Contract, and the Child Advocacy Contract. And then I'm also asking this year to reclassify one of my positions. If you recall, we've been contracting with Julie Frick, who's one of our probation officers, to provide quality assurance services to our county for the last couple of years. We're very blessed to have Julie in our community. She's one of the premier people that understands and can monitor all of these new requirements under the juvenile justice reforms from 2024. And so this year, I think we can roll that into her current position is what I'm looking to do. That actually saves the county about $6,000. It'll allow her to do the job while she's here and not have to do it outside of work hours. And now that she's got things, the structure kind of in place, and now it's more monitoring and collecting data, I think that we can accomplish that within her 40 hours here every week. So that's, I would ask that we do that beginning October 1st of 2026. I'm happy to answer any questions about any of those topics if anyone has any.
Yeah, the only question I had, this new position, has it been discussed with the administrator and with HR?
Yes, I made the proposal to Tim. It's actually not a new,
That's why I was wondering.
yeah, it's not a new position.
It's a
She's currently employed with us.
She is to a
Well,
different,
still, we,
yeah, I understand.
like, for that system, I did not agree with you.
Yes, yep. She's currently in a position, a full-time position with the county, and she has a contract. And we do away with the contract and just upgrade her current position.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
I so move that we approve resolution number 26449 to approve the fiscal year 2027 child care fund budget. Which is by far the largest thing that was in our packet today.
It's lengthy.
Moved by Steve, supported by George, to approve resolution 26-449. All those in favor? Well, we better do a roll call again.
This one you're spending lots of money.
That's really.
Commissioner Bailey.
Yes.
Commissioner Bunting,
Yes.
Commissioner Gay,
Yes.
Commissioner Sapsy,
Yes.
Commissioner Owens.
Yes. Motion carried.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or that's what come out here. The next time. Yeah, and then next again.
Good evening. As you recall, we are from the Department of Health and Human Services, and we have two, can you hear me?
Your name?
Lori Teal. And this is
Melanie
Melanie
Davis.
Davis. She is our director. And we work together with the county. We have two contracts that we do. The first one would be Resolution 26446. And that is a supportive parenting intervention service that we contract out with La Casa. And a part of that contract is that they do parent visiting with our children in foster care. And another piece of that is that they try to prepare those parents to expedite the return of those children to their home instead of being in foster care. So do you have any questions about that contract?
This is very similar. There's really nothing changed from one, just
Oh, there's
continuation.
changes. The dollar amount is.
Everything I read through it, it seemed like, I didn't remember
We do that.
exactly word for word.
We've done this for years, beginning of time. I would move that we'd adopt resolution 26446.
Support. Moved by George, supported by Tim, to approve resolution 26-446. Roll call.
Commissioner Bunting,
Yes.
Commissioner Gay,
Yes.
Commissioner Sapsy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Owens.
Yes. Motion carried. Now, are you the agency that deals with Highfields?
We are.
How many people do we send down there a year? Just rough guess.
We actually don't send anyone there. They come to the parents' homes and we do roughly 20 to.
That's 20 to 40.
20 to
year.
40, depending on the intensity of the need. If they have more intense need, we have less families that we can benefit, but it usually runs 20 to 40.
Okay, thank you.
So, we have any more discussion?
We already did that one. Now we're on to
Next one.
next one.
You were still talking about this one. I thought you asked her a question about the new one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Highfields is not that first contract. La Casa is that first contract. And they also go into the parent's home. But that number is a little bit less when you say that's probably 15 to 20 a year.
It's all new to me, so I'm curious.
No worries.
We can go down and take you on a field trip to Highfields down in Onondaga.
You can definitely schedule ride-alongs.
Yeah.
Want to get your eye open? Go ahead.
Go.
Do things I
It's
wouldn't.
always fun.
Okay, next up, resolution 26-447 to approve an agreement for advanced early impact services.
And that is our Highfields contract. That is $89,000. We have not upped that contract in the last 10 years that I could go back and look at. So we continually ask for the 89,000. So as it would figure with times, we're serving a little less families, but still that 20 to 40 range, depending on the severity.
I was looking in the financials here and it there was a spot in there where we were sending them 13,000, 16,000. Was that be a portion of the 89,000?
Yes. We never exceed the 89,000.
You will see some months where we are expending about $6,000 assisting families, and some months maybe that 13,000. It depends on the demographic of the family, where they're traveling to. And this year we've had a change in our demographics. We have a lot of high-risk children and a lot of juvenile justice kids that are coming to us from the courts under supervision. So we're trying to implement those services to get those kiddos out of residential and back into the home. And some of that will have some transportation costs and advanced therapeutic intervention. So it costs a little bit more sometimes with certain months.
Thank you. Did we vote on that?
So move that we approve resolution 26447 to approve an agreement for advanced early and impact services.
Moved by Steve, supported by Tim to approve resolution number 26-447. Again, we should have a roll call. Sorry to work you so hard tonight, Angie.
Commissioner Gay,
Yes.
Commissioner Sapsy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner Bunting,
Yes.
Commissioner Owens.
Yes,
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Marty, on your way by, to wake him up. Okay, next up, resolution 26-448. Certify Gratiot County Representative to the mayor's 2026 retirement conference.
Our MERS plan, MERS, for those who aren't familiar, is the Municipal Employees Retirement System. Our participation in that program requires that we send a member of our municipality to the MERS annual conference to attend their business meeting. And they ask that we send an officer delegate and an employee delegate. To send an employee delegate, we first have to hold an election among the eligible employees to determine who they would like to send to represent them, which we did. Much to our surprise, I think we had 5 candidates. We had a tie. So, okay, now what do we do? So we came into this room and we drew straws, and we didn't just draw straws, we did a best 2 out of 3. The employee participant turned out to be Ann Sharkey. So you could fill that name in on that blank spot on the resolution. Now, I've gotten questions from employees about, is this something new? Is this, why are we now doing this for the first time? I can't speak to past years, but this is not new. This has been part of the MERS plan document since they've existed, and this is their 80th annual conference. So regardless, we will be in compliance this year. We have 2 candidates. The board has to approve these 2 candidates to go, and then I actually have to fill out an employee delegate authorization form, which I'll do after you've approved this, and get everything set up. So that conference is October 8th and 9th. We have our candidates.
So move that we approve resolution 26448 to send officer delegate Sheila Barnaby and employee delegate Ann Sharkey to the MERS 2026 retirement conference.
I'll second it.
Moved by Steve, supported by Jan, to support resolution number 26-448 to certify the county representatives to the MERS retirement conference. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Next up, FOIA request.
Okay, I'll preface this by saying I've been doing this a lot of years. Before coming to Gratiot County, I only ever had 1 appeal. I've been here 8 months, we've had 3. So I don't know what's happening. There.
Blowing your record up.
Gratiot County Special.
Yeah. In this case, Mr. Joe Sokol from Bangor, Maine, specifically asked for documents that are in the medical examiner files. So he's asking Any cases where there is toxicology testing for a specific type of a drug, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. There's probably 20 letters in it. Most of them are consonants, so I'm not going to try to pronounce it. But a very specific drug, a couple of types of drugs for the period from January 2022 to the present. So roughly, a little bit more than 3 years, almost 4 years total. And some very specific things he's asking for: decedent's total name, date of death, medical examiner case number, county of death, county of residence, whether or not kratom alkaloid was listed as a cause of death, and a toxicology summary for the entire file. And just to give you an idea of the volume that we're asking for, there are roughly anywhere between 100 and 125 case files each year of the medical examiner. What this would require is that a qualified individual, which really comes down to me in this case because of the sensitive nature of the file, go through each one of those, look for this specific drug called out in the toxicology test, duplicate that file, redact what needs to be redacted, and then package that all up and send it to the requester. That's all well and good. I don't mind doing that. And there are provisions within FOIA that, while we normally would have to fill these within 5 days or get a 10-day extension, but something like this, we have to estimate the cost of producing this, a rough idea of how long it's going to take to compile all those documents. We're probably talking 3 months to get through all of that. But I don't have to calculate that because the FOIA request itself was denied, and I denied it because there is a specific provision in the Freedom of Information Act that states if the document is listed as exempt in another statute, then it's not disclosable under the FOIA acronym for Freedom of Information Act. And in this case, we have the Medical Examiners Act, which very specifically states medical records, books, papers, documents, or other items that a county medical examiner or deputy county medical examiner obtains in conducting an investigation under the Act, whether in response to a subpoena or otherwise, are exempt from disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act. Pretty black and white to me, so I denied the request on that basis. Anybody who requests documents under FOIA has a right to appeal when their request is denied. And in this case, Mr. Sokol did appeal. He asked specifically on 4 particular items. Number 1, he states that the cited exemption does not apply to all requested records. Only, quote, medical records, books, papers, documents, or other items the county medical examiner or deputy medical examiner obtains in conducting an investigation. Isn't that what I just said was exempt? Yeah. So that doesn't work by itself. Number 2, there's a Supreme Court precedent that he's citing that requires disclosure of autopsy and toxicology reports. And I'll come back to that one in a second. It's a very important distinction there. Third, the FOIA requires segregation of exempt from non-exempt material. Yes, of course it does. And I just explained how we would account for that. And finally, his request is narrowly tailored and feasible. He's offered to accept redacted things in a summary list and so on. And yes, of course, we would automatically do that anyway. But he's claiming that at that point, other counties have provided reports, therefore you have to do yours. That is inaccurate. We will follow the statutes every time. Now, on this issue about the Supreme Court precedent, there is in his appeal citing Sweckard versus Wayne County Medical Examiner, a case from 1991. And normally, yes, looking at just that case, the court was very clear that these are the documents that need to be classified as public records under FOIA and therefore disclosed when asked. 10 years later, 2001, the state passed Public Act number 26 of 2001 on June 21st of 01 that specifically added that section I just read about what's exempted under FOIA. And that frankly makes all of the other points moot. That is the law of the land. My recommendation is that you deny the FOIA based on the statutory exemption.
Make a motion that we deny the.
I'll second that.
Okay, go ahead.
Moved by George, supported by Jan to reject the request. All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Thank you for all your work on that.
Fun one.
Yeah.
Change your mind there, lady?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will tell you all that Tim really asked me to do less words, but I promise that this is down from 140 pages. So it is going to be hopefully tolerable for you, but it's really important. And anybody in the audience, please grab one as well. We are now to the point with our MMP that we actually have words on a page, and I'm really excited about that. So I am going to go over kind of generically what our regional goals are and then our specific Gratiot County goals. This is a draft of a draft. So I will kind of go through what the next steps are going to be. I'm just really excited that we actually have a product now. So the Heartland Material Management Plan is for Clare, Gladwin, Gratiot, Isabella, Mecosta, Midland, Ogama, and Osceola counties. So that is what our region is. So this plan is broken down in that each county has an appendix with our specific goals, and then we have overall regional goals as well. Matt, can you turn for me? That's not working. Thank you. So kind of the basis of MMP in Part 115 in this law is that we are really looking to move materials from going into landfills and being able to put those into recycling or organics or all of these benchmarks that the state has put together. So this is just an overview of what our current recycling rate is. The statewide goal for us at the end of 2024 was 25%. Gratiot County, we are at 12.1. So we certainly have some opportunity for growth with that. And as a region, we're at 12.6%. Okay, so citing process. This is a lot of words. I'm going to go over it very quickly. Under Part 115, it requires that our material management committee has a citing process. So this is for new material management facilities that want to come into our area. So this is not taking anything away from our planning commission. This is actually just adding another step that they need to come to us, to the committee. Does this match what the plan is? Because all 8 counties are committed to this plan. So we want to make sure that the citing process goes with that also. This is never going to take away local control from any of the communities. So this committee is never going to tell Gratiot County that there has to be another landfill added. Okay, regional goal number 1, improve municipal and commercial waste recycling rates and meet benchmark recycling standards. So this is just the general goals of what we're going to do. So I'm going to kind of skip by this because you're going to have it. You're going to take it home. It's going to be emailed to you. It's going to be on our website, and Angie is also going to be distributing it. So I'm going to go to the Gratiot goals. So we are going to document which haulers are here and what communities they're serving, as well as where those materials are going. We are going to provide model contract language and offer technical assistance when pursuing new or updated hauler contracts that adds curbside recycling. So I know a lot of our municipalities already have contracts. That's wonderful. But when they go to renew those, we want them to be able to come to us and us be a resource and maybe say, hey, this township is also looking. So maybe go together, double the population, and you might get a better rate. We want to be the resource to tie those communities together to make sure that everybody has the most reasonably cost access that they can. We're also going to compete a drive time analysis to figure out how far somebody has to drive to get to a drop off. We know somebody's not going to drive 40 minutes if they have to drop off their recycling. They're just not going to do it. So we need to know how far people are driving or how far people are willing to drive. So that is one of our goals. We want to engage Sumner Township. We know that they're doing great things. So whether we are going to mirror that in another community or whether we're going to expand what they're doing and support them, is a conversation that we certainly want to have. We need to start identifying locations for drop-off sites. We know for sure we're going to have at least one. We might have to have a second. So we need to figure out where are those going to go? What is the infrastructure? What do we need to be able to do those? So we need to start having those conversations. And then as we're figuring out these drive times, equipment costs, all of those, how are we going to pay for that? What are we going to do? How are we going to get this goal done? And RRS has helped us lay out some ways and some goals that we're going to be able to do to be able to figure out how to make this actually sustainable. And a big part of the law is that we have to create an education and outreach program. We have to do that. That's just part of it. And so teaching people how to recycle and how to access those recycling sites is just going to make us all better. Regional goal number 2, reduce food waste and advance organics management. So we want to establish residential drops-off. What does that look like? We want to empower our residents to be able to make sure that they know how to manage food scraps. So we want to educate people. And then we also want to talk about reduction. And a good place to do that is in the schools. And so Gratiot County's goals go right along with that. We want to collaborate with our conservation district, MSU Extension. We don't want to be duplicating services. We want to make sure that we are utilizing the services that we already have that are wonderful here. We want to target our schools, hospitals, restaurants, the people that have a lot of food waste, figure out what they're doing with it, what we can do differently with that. I've learned that similar to if there is somebody pulled over on the side of the road and you do CPR, there's this Good Samaritan law. There's a similar one for food. So if a restaurant is giving food to the needy and they are giving it in good conscience, that they are saying that this is edible food and it is quality food, they should not be held that should not be held against them, which might, if people don't know that might really open up some opportunities for us to get the excess food that we have to the people that need the food. Recycling goal number 3, advance recycling education and outreach. That's just part of the law, so we have to do it. We're thinking about ways to do that, whether that is to have an educator or whether it is to have an outreach person, and just look at what that looks like. Again, there's just more Gratiot County goals, and I'm not going to read through all of it because you're going to have the information, but we're really looking at the state level, at the regional level, and then at the Gratiot County level, how we do this. Track and report recycling program performance. That's really important with those benchmarks. Do we have data coming in? The answer is no. And where we do, there's big gaps in it. So we have some ways that we can increase some of those recycling rates in that information, that data. The state has some opportunities where they're working on getting some of that data and that will trickle down to us. But we need to also know what's going on in our community. And I already spoke about that one. And then finally is the regional hub and spoke recycling infrastructure. So how do we work together rather than it just being Gratiot County that's right by Isabella, or whether it's, whatever, Gladwin County. How are we working together? George was just talking to me about household hazardous waste. Well, how do we get rid of that? Well, if Midland's doing something really well, how can we work with Midland and get Gratiot County's stuff to Midland? Or what can we take from Midland? Can we have a place that's got a spot for food scraps and organics that we can take from Midland, and then Midland is helping us in this other way? So that really is that regional hub and spoke, that we are really working together rather than all of us doing the same things to hopefully get to that final place. And then the last thing I'll talk about is the path to adoption. So this kind of tells you what this looks like. So the last basically year and a half have gotten us to this point, and now we've got a year to get to the end. So this in July of 2027 should be going to Eagle for approval. So at that time, our solid waste plan that has not been opened since the year 2000 will be replaced with this MMP. So a lot of information. You've got it. Please reach out to me if you have questions. Yes.
A couple of different things. You're talking about the food scraps thing. It was just in the news, I believe this within the last week, where municipalities that have digesters are taking food scraps from all the things you just listed. Unless Alma has one, I don't believe anybody here has a digester, but we have many of them in the county. Well, not many, a few, I would say, a few digesters in the county. Maybe just two here. There's one just on the other side of the county line. So that's where I was getting the number. Anyhow, those are also an option for using those scrap food to produce methane. But it would take some sort of an agreement with, because the ones I'm familiar with are on personal, dairy farms.
We will definitely be looking at some partnerships as we are able.
Yeah. Secondly, speaking of, since we've talked about our county is reliant on ag is our primary. So Gratiot County is known for. Take a walk outside and take a deep breath and figure it out. In all of this, and I know, I think Lee just talked to you today about this, because I'm on the conservation, it's one of my assigned ag chem containers.
It's being added. Ladine is talking to RRS. They're working on language. This is the draft of the draft.
Because that's, I mean, people would be blown away with how much plastic between 1 gallon, 2.5 gallon, 30 gallon, 55 gallon, 265 gallon plastics are thrown away every year in this county.
Absolutely.
A lot of them probably go up in smoke. And if we can stop that, that would be a wonderful thing, because they used to, years ago, you used to be able to take them to places for recycling. The places that sold it took it back. That hasn't been done in 10 years that I'm aware of. So it'd be wonderful if there was a program, because I really think a lot of farmers would like to get rid of them in a better way than what they're getting rid of them now.
Yes. And Ladine and I, what I suspect will be our first partnership is that we are going to work on getting in-home compost kits so that people can start, even if it is just sitting on their counter, to put their food scraps in, to start thinking about that, because food waste is a huge opportunity and it just sits in landfills and decomposes, and it is hot, and it is just a mess. So that is really an attainable thing that we can do to start making small improvements. So I would like everybody to take this if you are interested. Like I said, this is a draft of a draft.
I have a question. So when you have plastic, do they reuse that, or do they remelt it down and remake something? What do they do with the plastic?
It just depends on what the plastic is and what the end user wants.
Like I'm thinking of pop, or the water bottles and a lot of water bottles.
Well, each of them have a plastic number. They each have a specific kind. And so really it is the end user that decides what they're going to do with it. Maybe they are using like water bottle and remaking it into a water bottle, but they might be taking those water bottles and putting it into clothing.
Really?
So it's really,
Look on all your stuff, there's a little triangle. Yep. That little triangle, there's a number that equates to whatever that product is.
it tells you exactly what the product is. You can look at the bottom of a water bottle and see what kind of plastic is in it.
Okay, thanks.
So it really is end user. But I do ask, because if you look, right now, we are going to hopefully approve this draft on the 21st, and that starts our 90-day public comment. So this is when I need you out talking to your municipalities. Let them know this is the time, this is when we want that feedback. Up until this point, there haven't been letters on paper, so there was nothing to do. Now there is. Take a look at what our goals are. Take a look at, and after the 21st, the full 140 pages will be available to be read through. We want impact, or we want input. We want this product to be not something that sits on a shelf, but something that is sustainable into the future.
I have 5 mini digesters at my house for food scraps. My wife's chicken.
I'd be going with it.
My contact information.
Go, man.
My contact information is on the back side. Please have people reach out. I really do want the feedback so that we can have great products. Thank you for your time.
Yep,
Thank you. Yep. It is good to see something actually in writing.
Long time coming.
I guess we're ready for you.
All right.
short, simple, sweet. Check register, you have it in front of you, or it was in your packet. Total checks for this since the last meeting came out to 1,564,977,000. And then the invoices from the last meeting through now got a total of 120,434.39.
Government's expensive to run.
A little bit. Granted, these are, like I said, these are all expenditures, could be personnel related for benefits, utilities, all that fun stuff, contractual arrangements, drains. So it's all in there. So, yeah, not cheap.
So the question I had asked you earlier on the cell phones, because they're all, that's just, if it's like $276.44, they've got multiple phones under that one. So we're not having, any other recurring fees that we're paying for, because there's all kinds of apps and crap you can get on your phone. We're not paying for that stuff on people's phones, correct?
Matt's looking at all that. He's the
Overseer of all that.
overseer. That's the central spot where he's the one that set the plans up. So
Just like the
there's no,
reimbursement, you'll see 35, something else, 37.77, and then 264. I was like, how do these make sense? They're all over the place.
they're allocated to different respective areas because
Okay, that's all I was making sure. We're
just like
bunch of.
Ken was talking earlier, if it's part of a grant somewhere, then we can get reimbursement for it. It was allocated there. Finance, administration, IT, we're all getting our respective
Well,
pieces.
well, thank you.
I would move that we would take the invoices that were presented to us and place them on file.
By George, supported by Steve, to put the invoices on file. All those in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed, nay.
also move that we accept the expenses and pay the bills.
Moved by George, supported by Steve, that we pay the bills. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Do we have any unfinished business? Any additional public comment?
I can't come and not say something. Stacy Carey Jenkins. I first want to begin by saying I have not had a conversation with Mr. Danty, so it may sound repetitive what I do have to say. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I am part of the People for Agricultural Preservation and want to go on the record that we believe in renewable energy, but not on prime farmland. Gratiot County is blessed with some of the most productive farmland in Michigan. Utility scale solar development can disturb, remove, and compact valuable topsoil during construction, affecting the land's ability to be productive. Farmland is a finite resource that supports our economy and preserves the rural character that makes Gratiot County very special. Public Act 233 requires that before an energy facility is approved, it must be determined that the project will not unreasonably diminish farmland, including prime farmland. Prime farmland is the land best suited for producing food and agricultural crops. That requirement is more than a procedural step. It reflects the legislature's recognition that farmland deserves protection. The question isn't whether solar can be built here. The question is whether converting thousands of acres of Gratiot County's prime farmland into industrial solar unreasonably diminishes farmland, as Michigan law requires us to consider. Gratiot County has already recognized the importance of protecting agriculture in its master plan. Part of the county's mission is to encourage investment while preserving and maintaining Gratiot County's agricultural heritage and focusing solar development towards communities that want it. That vision does not place development above agriculture. It calls for both economic growth and the preservation of the resources that has defined this county for generations. Planning is not simply about accommodating every proposal that comes before you. Planning is about protecting the public interest and making decisions that will benefit future generations. I ask you to consider the cumulative impact of removing prime farmland from agriculture production. At what point does accommodating additional industrial development become protecting what remains? I respectfully ask you to stand behind the vision Gratiot County has already adopted. 1, honor the master plan. 2, honor the importance of agriculture. And 3, protect our farmland. The decisions you make today will determine whether future generations inherit productive farmland or simply remember where it used to be. I also want to acknowledge that 13 letters were sent to you, and it's sad that they weren't read during your meeting, but I understand, I think, why. And lastly, I would like to thank Commissioner Bunting, Commissioner Sopsey, and Commissioner Gay for responding to the many calls I know you've received and the emails and reaching out to some of us. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Anybody else? Bob? You don't have any comments? Okay, you just sit there, so I have to look at you through the whole meeting.
I want to thank everybody who did send the emails. I did read all of them. Every single one of them, I read them. And I appreciate your passion and I just want you to know I respect that. I do read each one of them and there's a whole lot I can say but I do want you to know I appreciate each one of you for sending those.
I read them, but I don't always respond.
You know, they're still in the minutes too. I mean, they're still in with the
Board packet.
board packet, yes.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Or moved by George, or moved by Jim, supported by George to adjourn. We're adjourned at 5:53.